it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today, and we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of understanding the why behind the hurt that is involved when you are in a relationship with a toxic, emotionally manipulative individual such as a malignant narcissist, a covert narcissist, or a psychopath. Someone who makes their way in the world with a lack of empathy and with a superior sense of self-importance. So in the beginning, these people are very adept at knowing what makes other people tick. In other words, they are very alluring and very attractive. They can be larger than life. Their charisma can be like the big entrance, like the Kramer and Seinfeld. They can be very clowny. They can be very mischievous. Oftentimes, they'll break the rules or they'll transcend boundaries that most people won't transcend, and people tend to admire them. They tend to feed into the flame. They tend to pour gas on the flame and keep it going, because these people can oftentimes be very entertaining and really sort of take away the needs of others. So in other words, it's like their relationship can be very superficial, so it can really cause a momentary relaxing of other people's stresses because of how distracting and what a diversion they are. And a diversion basically means that they can be distracting from that which is your rightful place, which is your opinion, your experience, your desires, even just your voice to kind of do what you do, feel how you feel, behave how you feel, your personality. In the healthy sense of the word, and have your own healthy narcissistic needs met. In other words, being congratulated, being validated, being acknowledged. This is healthy narcissism. Healthy narcissistic needs are just, hey, someone gives you, the slap on the back, the handshake, the thumbs up, the smile, the good job. That is healthy validation. It's basically positive encouragement to let you know that you're on the right track. You're doing basically what is working. It can be a win-win situation. It doesn't mean that you're hurting somebody. It means that you're being your best. And that's a whole different energetic space than somebody who is narcissistic and taking away and not permitting that to exist in a relationship. And so that can become really what we call like a muffled or stifled voice within you, where you begin to shut that down, sacrifice that, and then allow that other person to take over the situation, the relationship, or really perpetuate those wounds. And when we talk about suffering silently, that is often the experience. So that silent suffering, though, often can implode on the person or cause people to run away. In other words, rather than living their life and being productive and building, they tend to take diversions. They tend to, seek just to run away from the pain rather than living their life. It's a big distinction. It's a big difference if you're just constantly trying to run away from the pain or you're positively living your life. Because just running away just means you make momentary, runs to the bar. You make momentary runs to the mall. You make momentary runs to this, that, or the other thing. Or like people who become workaholics, they're focusing on their work to take away the pain that they're feeling inside, and to kind of give it, attend to it, identify what it is. So it becomes really this very much an unknown, and the people then experience this. I don't know what's bothering me. Something is always hurting. I will burst out into tears, or I'll burst out into anger. It's because this hurt has been unidentified, not dealt with, not understood. So it then is just like this emotional time bomb that just keeps ticking. And it can go on for years. It can go on for decades. And really until people get into the later stages of their life, do they say, I am no longer living this way. This is not taking me to where I want to be. So realizing that the key, the solution, is to identify the why and understand what the pain is about. So the pain is because you are not allowed to live and breathe your feelings, your needs, your wishes, your desires, your growth, your the things that you bring to the table in the relationship they are not, accepted, or the people are not there for you the way that a healthy individual should be. In other words, they're if you're around someone who's threatened by your personality, or by you growing, or by you being your best, because it would take the limelight off of them, if they can keep waffling over you and grinding you down, then they have just, put out your fire. They have put out your life force. They have put out your self-esteem. They've taken away your healthy ego, your healthy sense of reality, and basically ground it out and diminished it into a nothingness. So that is really what the tools in the invalidation, and then oftentimes the calculated hurt, which can be so hurtful. To know that someone maybe did this intentionally is oftentimes shocking, and it can be hard to fathom, hard to believe, and that somebody just got in it. It's almost like an identity or a joy theft, where someone takes away that very part of you, that inner core, and then the self-distrust begins to set in, the fear begins to take hold, and then you no longer have trust for life, trust for yourself, belief in the finer things. And that is how the snowball goes. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you really learn to break it down, dissect it, get out your chisel and break it open and see exactly what is going on there. It is to understand the why and understand the who that will give you that intellectual understanding, and then realize that that person has done these things in a self-serving manner. In other words, it's not about you. It's not because you're not lovable. It's not because you're not talented. It's not because you're not loving, affectionate, all the wonderful things that make you you. That is the real you. You are lovable. You are considerate. You are empathetic. You are caring. You do have so much to give and share, but this person wants to not acknowledge that because they want the flip side to all be on them. They're not able to coexist with your best self. They're not able to coexist in that manner. It is a threat to the insecure narcissist, because if they were to, perhaps be supportive of you, you might surpass them. You might surpass them in finances. You might surpass them in talents, relationships, contacts, you name it. You might surpass them spiritually. The narcissist does not want to lose. The psychopath wants to pull one over on you. That is what gives them pleasure. That is what gives them reward. So that is the why of why the pain is set up. So if you can realize that you are all these positive things, that this was kept secret from you by the narcissist because they don't want you to live, acknowledge that, because again, it's the threat. That is the hurt. That is the invalidation. That is the why. So remove that cause. Remove that cause of the wrong messages that you received. Not just annihilate them, but begin to remove it from your body. Realize it was just a voice that was there from this person in a self-serving way, and realize to separate yourself, your real personality, your real qualities, what you bring to the table, and begin to bring those out. Bring them back to life. Bring them out. Bring them to the table. Bring them to your breakfast. Bring them to your shower. Bring it to your work. Bring it to your reading. Bring it to whatever it is that you do. Your spa date, your travel plans. Bring your best and begin to live in that positive space. It might be difficult, it might be hard because you're not used to it. You're used to it being denied, and it feels there's that guilt that creeps in. You can't be happy, you're not good enough, all the you're nots begin to flow back in, and then people, become living less than a life than they could. So get back on that track. Begin to separate what their voice, and it's not, really begin to invalidate that voice that you hear, that they tried to put in, that they tried to imprint in you. Realize that it was just to serve them. It has nothing to do with reality, the real you. They were operating out of emotional unintelligence or emotional ignorance, and you were there. So get a t-shirt, I was there. I went on this, horrible experience, but I'm out of it now. And come out of it and emerge and get your feet on the ground. Look at your 2 feet. Look at your 2 hands. Brush yourself off and just say, been there, done that, I'm moving on. And begin to slowly let go of those feelings and those voice. and begin to invite and encourage those positive healing exercises that we have been discussing. The recovery date, the recovery journal, the positive order direction thinking, the pod thinking. Begin to really hammer those in. Take it seriously. Work it very hard in the beginning. If you have to work it hard for 4 weeks, then your body will naturally begin to assimilate it, and then you'll begin to surround yourself naturally with the positive feelings, thoughts, emotions, and visions that you have desired, and your life will begin to manifest in the positive. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.